Metal Gear Solid is the only game series where the villains are a coordinated team of diverse and deadly members. Sure, there are games with multiple antagonists, but they usually have their own goals and have formed an alliance. Metal Gear is more like anime villain teams like the League of Villains, the Homunculi, or the Kizuki. That united front of evil creates a diverse range of villain dynamics and unique designs and characters. And Kojima is nothing if not eccentric, so differentiating his villains from each other is a simple task for him. And with the 4 supervillain teams he's created, none of them even come close to the Cobra Unit from Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Unlike the other villains of the series, the Cobra Unit isn't evil, they're just incredibly loyal to the boss and will do anything to serve her. Now, they certainly aren't the first or last tragic villains in these games, but what's different about them is that they're not forced to fight out of a need to or insanity. They do battle because it's what soldiers do. Despite appearances, I don't think any of them are that crazy. They're just like Snake at the start of the game. They have an unhealthy respect for their commander, and they think of her as a walking goddess. I guess Snake also profoundly respected her, but after his faith was shattered, he couldn't understand why she was doing this. And his thirst for answers outweighed his desire to serve. He never gets angry or assumes that the boss has betrayed him, he's just desperate for answers as to why she'd do this. The Cobras are just like Snake, and if she betrayed any of them, I'm sure they wouldn't be twisted into hating her, and their minds would desperately search for any reason she might betray them. Another thing that makes the Cobras particularly tragic is how the boss did betray them all. She knew damn well that every one of them would die. After all, she's not only trained all of them, but also their opponent. And being the master tactician that she is, she can easily predict who will win in every single matchup. She willingly sends her old team to their deaths, and they never realize or question this because they're incapable of doubting her. Usually, this type of behavior is due to brainwashing, but the boss uses a much more deceitful tactic to trick her team: goodwill. The Cobras are a critique of the undying loyalty of soldiers in war, how they unquestionably serve higher powers that are more than prepared to sacrifice them. This blind devotion to your superiors is extremely dangerous, because they don't have your best interests in mind and will exploit you to further their own goals. But enough about the unit as a whole, let's get into their members. See, where other Metal Gear teams all have a unifying theme that makes them similar, like the cyborg aesthetic of the Beauty and the Beast squad, or the relatively tame character designs of Foxhound, the Cobra Unit is the most bizarre and diverse collection of foes I've ever encountered, and they are easily the critical element to the Metal Gear mixture of silly and severe in Snake Eater. The Pain is an overpoweringly high-energy character, and his theme of bees makes him a great headliner to the unit to grab the player's attention and communicate that these enemies are incredibly boisterous. Yet somehow, despite his over-the-topness, he was nowhere near the loudest enemy in the squad. The Fear seems to be Kojima's way of incorporating the Predator into Metal Gear Solid, as the Fear's invisibility and name suggest that he's a predator, and the player has to hunt him down while avoiding being hunted themselves. The end is highly praised for his boss fight and the theming of the old generation of soldiers passing on the torch to the new, but to me, he's one of the most tragic characters in the squad, precisely because of that theme of loyalty I mentioned earlier. This is a man who can never leave the battlefield. He served his master for decades and should be retired, but because he is plagued with his sickness of loyalty, he has no choice but to keep fighting, because there's nothing else he's ever known. The Fury is the previously alluded to loudest enemy of the group. He's a complete loose cannon who just wants to destroy everything around him so that the world can burn, just like he envisioned it when he saw it from space. And this is honestly my least favourite member of the Cobras. He just doesn't seem like he fits in with the rest of them. Unlike the other members, he has his own goal of burning the world, which seems at odds with the boss's. I don't understand why someone as unstable as him would serve under a soldier who fights for peace. Now, in Snake Eater, he thinks that she's trying to launch a nuke that would make his wish come true, but the game makes it clear that the Cobras aren't loyal to Volgin or any ideology. They just serve the boss and will do anything to make her wishes a reality, so I don't understand why he would follow her. Sure, the others are loud and proud too, but none of them have a stated goal. They just want to fight, and they want to fight for her. The Fury has a dream as well, and I guess he's just hoping that the boss will one day share that dream. Finally, there's the Sorrow, who is easily the most tragic member of the unit. In the end, he continues to serve under the boss when he should be resting, as even death can't undo the sense of duty he feels towards her. Now, this is more understandable, as they did have a child together, but if even death isn't the end of servitude, then just how much are you supposed to sacrifice for a cause that doesn't value your own life? But I do like how, as a medium, he's the only one aware of the boss's actual goals, and can help her with her true objective of being the scapegoat for the CIA. It creates a unique connection between the two that's more wholesome than the deception that the other members are under. I'll be back in 2 days. In the meantime, here's a video about whether good combat in stealth games like Metal Gear ruin the intended experience.